And we're ready to go. Okay, example 2. So what's going to happen in these circle questions is you have to know your properties and you have to be able to take information and label things. So in this question, O is the center of our circle. AO is 5. So I know from here to here is 5. I know from A to B is 6. And I want to find B to C, so I'm going to put an X there to represent that that's what I don't know. The top from A to B is 6. From A to O is 5. And we need to find from B to C. Now, usually in a circle question, you cannot find what they ask for directly. You have to think about all the things you know first before you can figure out what they're asking you. So right now, there is actually no mathematical way to figure out what X is in one step. We have to use other information. So then the question is, what else do we know? Through the yeah, this is a diameter because O is the center. So we know, that's one thing we know, right? We know that A to C is a diameter. What else do we know? The radius is 5, so the diameter is 10. That would make this 5 and this whole thing 10. That's important. Okay? What else do you know? We have an inscribed angle, ABC. Do you know what that inscribed angle is equal to? No? Do you remember about, I don't know, 3 minutes ago you said to me, there's one thing I said you'd forget? And you said, oh yeah, I forgot that. And then you forgot it again. This is 90 degrees.
Also, I just did it.
Well, it's just drawn, not to scale. Okay?
But that's what I got cleared up.
Yes. Any straight line through the center, the central angle will be 180. Okay. So now you have, in my opinion, we have now used our properties to label everything that we know. What did we end up with? We ended up with a right angle triangle where we know 2 sides. Can you see the right angle triangle, 90-degree triangle? Can you see that you know the hypotenuse is 10 and the other side is 6? Well, then what do you know about right angle triangles? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 6 squared plus X squared equals 10 squared. 36 plus X squared equals 100. X squared equals 64. And X, now technically when you square root both sides you have to have a plus or minus, but since we're doing lengths it has to be positive, and the only answer is X equals 8. So what this unit does is it says we teach you some new ideas, but those new ideas connect to some things you've learned in the past, like A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And so what makes this unit a little bit tricky is you have to do some problem solving as you're going along, going through everything that you can see and everything that you can figure out. So for questions 3 to 5, C is the center. So here is the center of our circle. And we use this to figure each of these out. The radius is 6 centimeters. Oh, this is B. Okay? So if they tell us the radius is 6, what can we label? How would you describe them properly? BC is 6 and CD is 6. You have to add B. It was missing. Okay? The bad angle is 40. Where would you label that 40? At the A, because it's BAD. That makes this angle here. That's our 40. Okay. I labeled in green everything that we were told. And now in blue, we're going to figure out, if we have that, what can we figure out? What can we figure out? And what property could we use? Yes?
Is the inscribed angle is half of the central angle, so that this one would be 80?
Okay, how do we say this one? It'll be, use letters. BCD is 80. Is that one of the ones they wanted us to find? Yes, angle BCD equals 80 degrees. Yes, right here. Excellent. So BCD equals 80. Okay? They still want us to find out more, so we have to be able to look at this, recognize things, and recognize properties. So they want us to find out these two angles. How do we find those out?
Oh, wait, this one's 90, isn't it? One of them's 90?
There won't be any, this is not 90 because this is not a central angle. You have to see something in this question still to help us figure out these bottom two angles. First of all, do you see that those bottom two angles are part of a triangle?
Yes.
What kind of triangle is it? It's an isosceles triangle. What's special about isosceles triangles? Angles are the same and sides are the same. Obviously, since the sides are both radiuses, that's what makes it an isosceles triangle.
So we have to put one each 80, so each of them are 50.
Each of them have to be 50 because angles in a triangle add up to 180. And since this one's already 80, that makes 100 left for those two. And since they have to be equal, they both have to be 50. So we can say angle CBD is 50 degrees, and angle CDB is also 50 degrees. Yeah. So now we use the same diagram, but now the numbers change for number 4. Yes? So in question 4, same picture. This is still B. Angle BAD is 45 this time. So again, I'll label what they tell us in green. If the radius is 8, this is 8 and this is 8, find the length of the chord BD. So this is what we want to find right here, X. What do we know?
We know that
Yes, Haley. Okay. We know BAD. That one's already been told to us, yes? So what do we know from a property? BCD is 90 degrees.
And then the angles B and D are 45 each because
You're right. These ones will be 45 each because it has to add up to 180, and it's an isosceles right angle triangle. Now, how do we find x? And did you guys know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared only works if the angle is 90 degrees in that triangle? When that angle is something else, and students like to do this all the time, like, ooh, I'll just use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You can only use that when it's a right angle triangle. And the reason a lot of students try to use it all the time is because when you learn it, you practice it, but your teacher always gives you right angle triangles. So it gives you the idea that, oh, this always works, this always works, it does not always work. It only works with a 90-degree angle. But since this is a 90-degree angle, we can do it. Now, is the x a side or the hypotenuse? It is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the 90. And this is another thing that doesn't happen very often. You don't very often get the hypotenuse on the bottom of your picture, do you? Usually your triangle's drawn on the side, but in this case, the x is the hypotenuse, so 8 squared plus 8 squared would equal x squared. 64 plus 64 is equal to x squared. And x squared is equal to 128. And then we'd have to take out our calculator to do the square root of 128. 11.2. 11.28. 11.31. I was close. At 11.28. 300ths off. 97% accurate. Okay. Find the value of x if angle bad is 2x minus 5 and angle BCD is 8x plus 7. So again, we're going to have to redraw or erase. I should have actually, I'm going to make a mental note to myself. Next time, would your notes be nice if you had this circle redrawn for each one? Or you had 3 copies of it? Probably that would be nice. So on this question, they're telling us that angle bad is 2x minus 5. And they're telling us that angle BCD is 8x plus 7. And we need to find x. What's the relationship between the 2x minus 5 and the 8x minus 7? Okay. Put not on there, far, up on the, yeah. And then you get up, you put it on there, and then you don't get up again. Are they equal to each other? No. What do we know? That 2 of these ones equals 1 of these. So if I go 2 of these ones, because the inscribed angle is half the central. So if I double the inscribed, I should get the central. And now we have some algebra to do. What do you do with the 2 in front of brackets? You distribute. So the distribute means the 2 multiplies this one and the 2 multiplies this one. That will give us 4x minus 10 equals 8x plus 7. How do we solve an equation? You have to do the same to both sides, and we want to put our like terms together, right? So in this case, I have an 8x and a 4x. I would probably move my x's to the right, so I could subtract 4x on both sides to do that. And then I would put my numbers on the left, so I'm going to subtract 7 and subtract 7. can you see that you would get minus 17 is equal to 4x, and opposite of multiplying is dividing, so divide both sides by 4. And this would be one, if you tried to guess and check, I do not think you would have got it very easily. Negative 17 over 4, or negative 4.25, is our answer. Okay. Tomorrow, we are going to have a work period to work on questions from your textbook. So these ones and the next ones. So I'm going to make this a little mini video here and stop it. Or should we just continue one video? Mini video?